What's up everyone, what is Gucci? I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. So I was in an earth science course in my last year of university where I learned about all the different legitimate earth theories, the flat ones, the round ones, how tectonic plates actually move, how people thought they moved, the whole lot. It was one of my favorite courses, no joke, and it's so interesting that so many people had so many different beliefs about something as big as the shape of the earth. And we still have differing beliefs today, believe it or not. So let's find out what on earth the shape of this planet is. This is the top 10 scary flat earth theories. Starting us off with number 10 is the Flat Earth Society. Yes, it's a thing, and yes, according to them, they've been gaining over 200 members a year since 2009. Hold on to your chairs, people, because I'm about to hit you with some news. So the society believes the earth is a flat disk with the Arctic Circle in the middle, and Antarctica is this 150-foot giant Game of Thrones-esque ice wall that just borders the rim. They say night and day happens because the sun and moon move in circles above the disk, and hence they illuminate different parts of the earth. And if you're wondering about lunar eclipses, according to the society, they occur because of the anti-moon. I'm not sure what that is, but just stick with me. They also believe gravity is an illusion, and it's not that there's a force pushing downwards. The earth disk actually accelerates upwards due to a force called dark energy. They believe photographic evidence of a round earth isn't reliable and have been photoshopped, and that NASA and world leaders are in a conspiracy in which they faked space exploration. They base their beliefs on the empiricist approach, which relies on information from your senses. So we go outside, the road is flat, everything is flat, so the earth must be flat. Coming in at number 9 is mathematics. Reddit user unimchem101 used hypothetical maths to prove that the earth is in fact flat. He said if the earth was truly a globe, then every line of latitude below the equator would have to measure a smaller and smaller circumference, which makes sense. However, if the earth was a flat plane, then every line of latitude south of the equator should measure a gradually larger and larger circumference. Furthermore, he goes on to talk about air travel. A flight going from Johannesburg, South Africa all the way to Sao Paulo, Brazil should be a simple flight across the 25th southern latitude, but instead every flight goes up to London to refuel and then to Brazil. He says the only reason a ridiculous detour like that would even make sense is if the earth was flat and it was just easy to do so, and that I can sort of see his logic with, I'm not gonna lie. He ended it by citing Dr. Robotham's experiment where he fixed 6 separate 5-foot tall flags along a shoreline. The flags were 1 mile apart, and he went back to the first one, stood 5 feet behind it, and looked over with a telescope and saw all the flags in a straight line. His argument was that if the earth really had a 25,000 mile circumference, then the flag should have dipped slightly. The second flag should have descended 8 inches, the third would have descended 32, and so on. So based on all the aforementioned facts, UnChem101 theorized the earth is definitely flat. What do you guys think? At number 8 now, we have flat and square. In ancient China, the overarching belief amongst people was that the earth was flat and square, which I've actually never heard before, and they believed that the heavens were actually the round, the circular things. Heaven was round, but the earth was a cube. Well, no, they actually had 3 theories about heaven. The first was that it was a sphere surrounding earth, the second was that it was actually an umbrella covering the earth, and the third was that it was just without substance, but it just had heavenly bodies floating freely through it. Regardless of whichever theory you believed in, these beliefs were set in stone and undisputed until European astronomy was introduced to them in the 17th century. I mean, how would the earth be square? How would the countries on the bottom side of the square get any sunlight? I mean, since the earth just rotates, it doesn't flip, so I just fail to see how they would have gotten any sunlight. But that's because I'm imagining it as a proper cube. Am I overthinking this? Should I stop? Let me know. Filling our number 7 slot is the horizon, and I'm not sure what to say about this one really, so I guess I'll just keep quiet and let you guys create your own opinions about it. The Flat Earth International Conference was held in Raleigh, North Carolina in 2017, and hundreds of attendees were present. All of them are obviously adamant on the belief that the earth is flat, because why would they attend otherwise? When one woman was asked why she thought the earth was flat, she replied by saying she had seen over 50 hours of footage on the internet, and that's what convinced her. She went on to say she had conducted her own testing, and when asked what she did, she replied by saying she went to the beach and looked at the start of the horizon and followed it along to the end, which confirmed to her that the earth was flat. She said straight edges are flat and thus the earth is flat. Okay. Now at number 6 is the theory from Reddit. Yes, it's from Reddit, so please keep your expectations at bay, people, but this one was posted fairly recently, just 26 days ago. User Spa Alfresco explained their belief of a flat Earth. They claim that the Earth is a flat, infinite disk that's covered in ice. I'm a bit confused on what they mean by infinite. Does it just keep going? If so, will I ever get to visit the countries that are eons away from me on said infinite disk? I'm not really sure. They add to it by saying the sun is a spotlight above the equator, and the equator is the thing that's circular, because you know, something has to be circular. According to the user, the sun warms up our section of the Earth so that we have non-frozen parts. The Arctic is further away from the sun, so it's frozen, but not as frozen as Antarctica. When asked about seasons, the user replied by saying they were a myth. They ended their explanation with "You're welcome in advance for the truth," so I think I'll leave it at that too. Coming in at number 5 is the solar eclipse. If you've forgotten about it, that's completely fine, but there was a solar eclipse on the 21st of August 2017. I love how I said it's okay if you've forgotten about it before I even said anything at all. You guys are probably like, forgotten what? Amen. But anyway, flat earthers used the eclipse as evidence that the Earth is flat. They claimed the west to east path the eclipse took made no sense because the sun is meant to move from east to west. Using coins and flashlights to demonstrate, they said the moon's shadow should have been bigger than the moon itself, but it wasn't. So they suspected that there was something fishy going on in our orbital sphere. Critics have shot back at them and have argued that the sun is so far away, it's such a diffuse source of light, that the flashlight demonstration just really doesn't work. According to them, the moon is just a speck of dust in the sun's light range, and I mean, they're not wrong. We're also just a small speck of dust in the sun's light range as well. At number 4 is a religious take. Personally, I'm not saying that there is a specific link between religion and what shape the Earth is, but a lot of people believe that there is. Redditor Chamilton1509 is one of those people. He said he grew up also believing the Earth was a sphere, but his friend introduced him to the idea that perhaps the Earth was flat. He took this in and fell down a rabbit hole of researching the theory for about a year, as well as looking at scriptures in the Bible. Now he believes that the Earth is a simple flat surface with a dome-shaped ceiling and walls. He goes on to say the Bible also supports this and that many verses state the Earth is flat. It says heaven is above and earth is below. God sits above the earth and his throne is in heaven and the earth is his footstool. He claims that there are dozens and dozens of scriptures that support this belief and that it's stupid for us to just blindly trust what the government tells us. I mean, fair enough. Filling our number 3 slot is ancient thought. Now it's no surprise that many ancient civilizations believed that the earth was flat at one point. In Egyptian and Mesopotamian thought, they believed the earth was a disk floating in the ocean. Israelites also believed the earth was a floating disk and that an arched firmament in the sky separated it from heaven. The Hebrews also believed the sky was a full solid dome that the sun, moon, stars, and planets were just embedded within. Many historians and poets also supported this theory. Is it just me, or does anyone else think of the Simpsons movie and how Springfield was stuck in a dome when I mentioned the Earth as a dome? Is that just me? Am I the only one that thought of that? Let me know. Now at number 2 is Norse belief. Now I didn't add this onto the previous one because honestly their belief was quite different from other ancient peoples, so I thought it should be separated and they should get their own point. Norse and Germanic people believe the Earth was flat too and that it was surrounded by an ocean with the axis mundi, which means the center of the world. It's what they believe to be the connection between heaven and earth, sort of like Earth's umbilical cord, if you will. And you could use the axis mundi to travel between the lower and higher realms of the world. I'm not really sure what that means, but great. They believe that the world tree, which was called Yggdrasil, was meant to connect the 9 worlds and that it was positioned in the center as well, or the Irminsul, which was the sacred pillar, was also in the middle. They believe that the world tree, which was called Yggdrasil, was meant to connect the 9 worlds and that it was positioned in the center of the world, or the Irminsul, which was a sacred pillar, which they also believed was in the center of the world. But the most interesting part of their belief was that they believed a snake called Jormungandr lived in the impassable sea around the Earth. It was meant to be so large that it was able to surround the whole Earth and grasp its own tail. Can you imagine? But they still traveled on the sea. That's where I'm a bit sus about this theory. And finally, at number 1 is the UN logo. If you look at the map of the Earth that flat earthers believe to be true, it looks exactly the same as the world shown in the UN logo. Flat earthers have even cited the logo as evidence of the NASA and world leader conspiracy in which they know the Earth is flat but are lying to the public about it. It's almost like a sick joke if you think about it. The AE map used in the logo is a flat Earth map and it's actually titled the New Standard Map of the World, and when you look at it, it says as it is, which can only mean take the map as it is as the full true representation of the Earth. But where is Antarctica on that map? Antarctica is the only continent that's never been claimed, so the theory also posits that Antarctica isn't a continent, it just borders the Earth just like the first theory states, and that's also why it's not present in the UN logo. I actually didn't know this about the UN logo until I saw this point, and then I researched it and I was like, wow, I'm shook. And guys, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you thought of these theories in the comments below, and also tell me whether you're a globe head or a flat earther. I am a globe head, guilty as charged. As always guys, I'm your host Ayman Hassan, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!